You're on the AI and Intelligent Automation Network, and it's Demo Day. Hi, I'm your host, Seth Adler. Welcome to Demo Day. Today we've got Shrikant from Edgverve, who's going to solve a common problem for corporate enterprise practitioners. We've got automation singularity, human-empowered intelligent automation. That singularity word, that's a dangerous one. How are we talking about that at Edgverve?
Thanks, Ed. So, Seth, what we are going to talk about is the fact that this entire space of human and digital workers collaborating with each other, but of course it will be led by humans, that's the end state that we refer to as automation singularity. But the first step of that is what we are seeing it as an intelligent automation, and that's what we are going to talk about and demonstrate today.
Okay, then let's deep dive into a specific problem like the complex processing of multiple documents from multiple sources, reducing human interaction in your current automation infrastructure. How is that for a construct of a case study? Might you have something that speaks to that?
Let's talk about this with a specific example. Okay, so this is an example of one of our retail clients where the problem statement from a business perspective was that this retail client had a lot of vendors who were submitting goods to this particular client. And along with this, once they submit, obviously they want to get paid, and hence they were submitting invoices to be processed. For this retail client, for the finance department of it, processing these huge documents that they were getting from the vendors, making decisions about which invoices to be paid, which invoices to be put on hold, meant a lot of human work.
Perfect. Okay, so the big issue, as we discussed it, is I'm not seeing ROI. Now, in this particular case study, what we've noticed is that there are just way too many documents, and OCR just does not have the capability to give us that intelligent automation. That's why RPA is not able to succeed for this particular retailer. Okay, so here we go with Assist Edge.
Sure. So what we did was to first and foremost bring the entire scope of this particular process inside the automation scope. So what you are seeing right now is the design studio of automation, assisted automation. What we did was to bring in the complex document processing inside the automation scope, was to apply our intelligent and computer vision capabilities. Okay. The challenge, as you rightly mentioned, Seth, was the current OCR was not able to extract data. That's because the documents were extremely complex. So let me just show you what it means. Okay. So this was just one of the sample documents that this client was getting. Okay. Every document from every vendor contained multiple images. And as many of our friends understand OCR cannot extract data if there are too many images in a single document. Okay. So what we did was to apply the computer vision to first narrow down the scope of the OCR. So vision basically identified the objects, specific areas from the document where the information needed to be extracted. In this particular case, the delivery receipt is identified in the document, and tables in the delivery receipt are identified so that the OCR can now attack only this area rather than trying to find out information from the entire document. This meant that the OCR's effectiveness and accuracy significantly improved. Okay, because now instead of looking at the entire document, the OCR is looking at very specific areas for delivery receipt in this example. And hence the accuracy of the OCR when the data was extracted and put it into Excel sheets was far higher. So this is how we solved the first problem, which was around the complex document processing. Okay, moving on, the second problem that we had to solve was that even after the OCR step, there are still a lot of human decisions that had to be made in order to decide whether the invoices can be paid or should be put on hold. Okay, what we did is we applied our AIIA contextual intelligence, which basically is a machine learning model which learns from every such decisions that are being made and then tries to predict and recommend what the decision should be. So in this particular case, the AIIA decision model basically gets the inputs from these extracted data and then tries to decide whether the invoice can be paid based on these parameters and based on the previous decisions that have been made. But obviously, because this involved financial transactions, the customer wanted us to be absolutely sure. So what we said was that we will go through straight through processing of invoice only if the machine's confidence level is almost 95% and above, okay, which practically meant that the machine had to be absolutely sure. If it was not, then we still kept the human in the loop. Okay? But what we did was we applied our AIIA decision workbench, which is a very simple human interface, but and within the scope of the automation, so that the humans can take a decision, but the machine can also learn from it. Okay, so this decision workbench allows the process specialists in this case to understand what are the parameters for the decisions to be made, what was the recommended decision by the AIIA, which is the machine here, and what was the confidence level. So it does three things. Okay, the first is that it makes the entire life of the process specialist here very easy, because now the process specialist does not have to go through multiple documents, call 10 people to get the information to make a decision. Everything is available on one screen for him or her to make the decision. The second is that it has a benchmark. It's been told by the machine that I recommend you to reject it, but my confidence level is 80%. And the third thing is when the human makes a decision, the decision goes back to the machine learning so that the AIIA becomes smarter with every human decision that is being made.
I want to stop you there. I want to stop you there. If you could put that back up for a second, because what we did was that we employed computer vision so that we could advance, this whole process past what OCR capabilities are. And so pop that back up where it says 80% from AIIA, if you don't mind, please.
Yeah.
So basically, though, what I'm saying is, and you can see it in this corner here, it's not that AIIA wasn't so sure. AIIA just wasn't 95% sure.
Absolutely.
So it would have gone straight through if it was 95% sure. But to have AIIA be 80% sure, does that kind of measure up with what maybe a human decision might be? Perhaps.
Sure. Yeah.
And so we're already at 80%. Now the human kind of informs AIIA so that that can kind of ratchet up and continue to be further and further automated. Do I have that right? Is that correct?
That's the perfect idea, Seth. And the fact that AIIA learns from every single human decision made without somebody having to go and intentionally train the model. Okay, so the whole beauty of this is that every human decision which is being made as part of the transaction processing is making AIIA smarter.
Why would you not call this reinforcement learning?
So for two reasons. One is, in many cases, reinforcement learning would entail you to give a feedback back to the machine in terms of the decision being made. And second is, many times the trainers have to go back to the workbench to train the machine learning model. In this case, the key, as I said, the beauty is that there's no person going back to the workbench. It is automatically picking up the decisions.
Okay, here we go. So this is conditional decision making, essentially.
Absolutely. This is conditional decision making. This is essentially making the machine smarter with every decision. And as I said, every time the machine is smarter, every time the machine is more confident, the straight-through processing happens. Okay, and it directly goes to SAP, and the vendor gets either paid or put on hold. Okay, what it meant for the client, just to go back to our use case and the case study, is that because we were able to do this data classification using the computer vision, we were able to do extraction using the advanced OCR, and we were also able to augment the decision making using the decision workbench. One is we were able to increase the scope of automation in the entire process by almost 40%, 30% because of the fact that we were processing the documents, and 10% because the decisions were being made by the machine. But most importantly, we increased the straight-through invoice processing rate by almost 40%. And that is a direct impact to the business. Okay, that's a direct cost savings because now the humans don't have to go through those invoices. And the side benefit, if I may call it, was that because the humans had the benchmark of machine made decisions, the error rate of the decisions also went down. Okay, the decision making became better and became more predictable.
So here, the two KPIs that are, that shout out to me are the increased successful automated transactions to 70%, and then the straight through invoice process rate by 40%. So the 40%, those are the 95% and above.
Correct.
And the 70% is just it being a more automated process in general, as you just showed us.
Absolutely.
All right. So this is digital transformation, as I understand it, right? Absolutely. We are literally digitizing our analog information. It is now digital, and we are truly transforming based on that digital transformation.
That's very correct.
Okay, great. Shrikant, thank you so much. And there you have it. We have a solution for the complex processing of multiple documents from multiple sources, decreasing human interaction in the current automation infrastructure. So thank you to Edgverve for offering AssistEdge for that solution. If you want to find out more, go to edgverve.com/AssistEdge. And so for the time being, I'm Seth Adler. This is the AI and Intelligent Automation Network, and this was Demo Day.